Hello and welcome. I am Stacey Thomas, author, ALS advocate, film producer, and talk show host. I'm here to motivate, educate, and entertain. Join me on YouTube every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Stacey Thomas Talk Show, where we have powerful discussions centered around health, relationship, careers, and everyday conversation. Follow me on Facebook, I am Stacey Thomas. On Instagram, Stacey Thomas Talk Show. And don't forget, I can promote you too. Email me at iamstaceythomas@gmail.com. Now, it's time for the show. Hello.
Hi, Stacey.
How are you, beautiful?
I'm great. How are you?
I am great. I wanted this book. I don't know if you can see the book up here, but this book. Let me take it down and let's just get this thing started. First, let me say thank you for blessing my platform tonight.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Well, after being on Sarah's web show and listening to the others question you, and then when I got the chance to question you, it's the vibe. You don't have to be right in front of somebody to pick up on their spirit. You don't have to listen to what everybody else has to say about them to know, like, once I started talking to you and I heard you speak to the others, you know what? I want to know more. 2 questions was just not enough. And I told you I had gone on your blog. Your blog only makes people want to know more. It's like you're not giving us enough.
Oh my goodness. Well, ask away.
Yes, ma'am. So how's everything going? We're getting up toward the end of the year. Has 2024 been a great year?
Oh my gosh, it has been bittersweet because I did lose my aunt, as I mentioned last time.
Yes, ma'am.
So
Sorry.
that was difficult. But overall, it's really been a good year. You know, we filmed in Atlanta the show Assisted Living in March and April, and that's always a blast. My book, you know, I've been promoting it all year and it's doing well. And it was voted, I'm a front runner in the American Writing Awards. And there's another award that my book has received, but I can't talk about it. It's going to be announced in December. So I'm really excited about that and about how the readers are responding to The Daughter Between Them, you know. So I feel really grateful for that. I feel grateful for my book and the audience. And before I forget, happy Thanksgiving, early Thanksgiving to everyone.
And happy Thanksgiving to you too, beautiful. You know, the book. The book. So I haven't really read as a writer and working on my own things. I haven't read as much as I used to read. And it's only because I like to make sure I only have my thoughts in my head. But seeing you promote the book, reading the synopsis of the book, I said, you know what? I'm going to read the book.
Wow.
So I started reading it the other day. And today I had to meet Lover over at the commissary, but I was going to be in the parking lot for about an hour, right?
Mm-hmm.
I said, don't worry about it. I said, don't rush. I've got this book I'm reading.
Okay.
And because I was reading before I left home and I didn't want to stop. So I sat out in the parking lot at the grocery store reading the book. I'm not going to tell about the book, but I will say this from the very beginning. You're one of those authors, and you probably already know this. It should be on a film.
Yeah, it really would make an amazing movie.
It should be on a film. And if anyone wonders, Stacey, well, why do you say it should be on a film? I'm saying because it's so detailed. It's so that you can read the book, you can see what's going on, even down to something when you describe, and it's little things. You didn't miss anything. The glove on the hand, the skin, you did not miss anything. And it's very intriguing. I'm going to be honest with you. I just want to know what's going to happen because I've had to swipe back a couple pages.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm just going to say this. Is this her? Is this really this chick? So I'm anxious to know more.
We'll
Am I?
keep reading, but I love it. Your reaction is a lot of why I write. I love to move people emotionally. I love suspense. I love red herrings, throwing red herrings in there, making you think it's this person and that. And why I love suspense is because it's like playing chess. My husband taught me how to play chess. He's a great chess player.
Wow.
And you have to be very strategic. You have to always be on top of it because you got to remember what you did over here, what the right hand is doing. The left hand has to know what the right hand is doing, and vice versa, because you're setting up clues, you're setting up things. And I'm always thinking about the reader, like, okay, I got to make sure I do this because they're going to be saying, well, how did that happen? I don't like leaving plot holes. I want all the plot holes complete. I don't want any. I want it to make sense. Like they say, make it make sense. I want it to make sense. But I love it. And I love knowing that I'm taking people on this journey. Like I know ahead because I do outlines when I write. So I already know my beginning, middle, and end. And I already know what's going to happen to characters. And so when I'm writing it, I'm thinking, wow, they're going to be in for it because they have no idea that this is going to happen to this character. And I hate doing that to my readers, but that's the drama. That's the juice. That's how you get people turning those pages and swiping those screens.
My sister Fran says she loves you. Well, I love her too, Fran. How about that?
Oh,
And let's see, Lawana Bradford. Good evening, Stacey and Ira. Thank you. Good evening,
hi.
beautiful. So your stories, and I would like to bring up because it's just not that one book. And this was surprising to me too. And we're going to get into your acting thing, but I'm honestly wondering, and I'm going to ask, but I'm going to say it now, so maybe you can think about it. How do you balance it all? So I'm going to take a moment and show people exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay.
All of those.
Well, they weren't written overnight. That's the first book I wrote in 1999, but I didn't publish it until 2008. And I always had this book in me about a young girl who suffers and comes out victorious on the other end, who has a very traumatic childhood. It's kind of loosely based on my life, as I had shared in a prior interview. But those were all written over I guess, about a 15-year period. So I average about a book a year. And some of them are series. Like I have the Cass and Nick series. That was my first series. That book, that series established me as a published author because Soulmate Publishing, I got an agent and she got me a deal with Soulmate Publishing, and they publish all 4 books. So that's the Cass and Nick series about a young woman who wants to get married in 30 days. Married in the nick of in 9 months, married in the nick of 9. And so I have about them meeting and then they were trying to have a baby and then the stepdaughter. So it's really interesting. And then I have the Detective Rachel Storm series. And there are 4 books in that series: Justice for Jessica, Losing Lauren, A Penny for Her Heart, and I forget the 410, my own book. But I know 3, it's just 3 in that series. So those are the 3 books in that series. And people have really taken to those. And that's when I made my foray into writing suspense. When I kind of worked into it because one of the books, Renee's Return, it really gets into suspense. The Cass and Nick series, which is really a romantic series. So I started inching my way in. And then when I started writing, I wrote For Ladies Only, which won an award. And I started getting into suspense, so more and more. And then I just went full-fledged into suspense with the Detective Rachel Storm. And all the books since then have been suspense, thriller and suspense.
Well, congratulations on the award. Do you have one, or maybe would you like to see them all on the screen? Or do you think any of them are meant to be on the big screen?
Wow. All of them. I'll say the ones that really, really press me. I would love to see a Detective Rachel Storm series. Like that could be a series with those 3 books. I would love to see a romantic series with Cass and Nick. Now, one of the books that really tugs at my heart a lot, there are 2. Well, I say 3. This one, The Daughter Between Them, would make an amazing film told in two alternating point of views, two different time periods. Leslie, I could see Tika Sumpter. I could see Tika Sumpter playing Leslie, the reporter, hands down. And I that would be like the most amazing thing to happen if somehow she got wind of my book. And I think I DM'd her in Instagram or whatever, said you would make a great Leslie, but she would. That would be a dream come true for that book. It would make an amazing film because it has a strong African American professional woman in there raising her two daughters. And then you have on the flip side the other African American woman that's dealing with mental issues, mental health issues, which is a big thing now. So you have those things. That's one movie I would love to see. And then the other one is my book, A Truth About Gretchen, which is my only supernatural suspense book. And with a lot of supernatural things going on now, I watched a piano lesson the other day, and it has a very strong supernatural element, the one that Denzel's son stars in, and his other son wrote and directed for the screenplay, But The Truth About Gretchen, it's a young college student doing her thesis film. And she bases her thesis film on this nightmare that she's been having for 2 years about this African American football player. He's a star football player. And she does a movie. And so his sister, this guy was killed and no one ever found out who killed him. So his sister is an actress and she comes to audition for this thesis film. And it trips her out because when she reads the script, everything's familiar. She says, has this woman like stolen my brother's life? And come to find out, this woman who's a white girl in college, she come to find out she's a reincarnation of this football player. And his sister and her get together to try to solve the murder.
Which one is this?
This is The Truth About Gretchen.
Okay.
That book definitely needs to be a movie. And sometimes I'm looking at this stuff and I'm thinking, people are struggling for content, and if I could afford it, I'd produce them, But I have so many good books that would make amazing movies. And the thing about it, there's nothing like The Truth About Gretchen ever has been done, or The Daughter Between Them. There's nothing like it.
Well, let me say this, and I don't think you need me to tell you this. And I'm going to read something, and this is why, excuse me, when you get ready, you already know it's going to happen. If you want to see them on film, I believe in you. And one of the things that from interviewing you and something I read on your blog, there's no way I'm going to get a good literary agent or land a book deal. I'm delusional. Yes, that's what I told myself. But then there's God and his promises.
Yeah.
So in February of 2016, I took a leap of faith. I leaned on Jeremiah 29:11, where God says, "For I know I have the plans for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." Yes, God had plans. I turned in my resignation and I returned to acting and started writing full time. I was blessed to land a great agent and I started auditioning and querying literary agents. It started out slow and steady, but I stayed the course. Yes, there were bumps in the road, but I remembered that God said he wouldn't harm me. So I stopped grumbling at the bumps in the road and I saw them as part of the process. God was leading me to the promised land, and those bumps would give me the strength I would need once I got to my destiny to persevere.
I wrote that. Wow.
So,
oh my gosh, thanks for the reminder. So true.
You were so honest and so transparent in your blog. So when you say maybe sound like you're not sure if this will happen, not sure if that'll happen, I feel like God has already showed you.
Yeah.
He got you.
Yeah. It's coming. It's coming.
He got you.
His timing is perfect. It's
yes,
always
ma'am. So the stories, different people have different ways of writing and creating. How do these stories, where do they come from?
That's a good question, because sometimes I feel like I'm channeling people who have lived these lives because they're so real to me. You know, the daughter between them, Leslie and Barbara, I write, some people write from the outside in, I write from the inside out. For some reason, they're in me. When I start, I had a general idea of that. I know I wanted to write a story about mothers and daughters, something to do with mothers and two mothers and on opposite sides, alternating these stories with two different lives, but a similar situation. And the similar situation is that their daughters were at risk. So I start out with that general premise. And then I start doing my outline, and then it just starts happening. All the ideas just start coming and bubbling up inside of me. And then I got to tell the story. And once I start writing, I have a general idea of what I'm writing in a chapter. And then all of a sudden, the character will take over, and then it'll start going in a different direction, but a direction that makes sense. So I feel like I'm channeling these stories, and it's a gift, I believe, and I thank God for it. But one of the things I've never suffered with, that's writer's block. I don't even know what that means. Once I get on a story, it just starts flowing. It starts flowing. And then, I have to go through the process of editing and cleaning it up. But it just happens like it's just someone speaking through me. It's crazy.
I get it. I get it. I get
And
it.
if you're, as a writer, you probably can relate to that.
I said it's something how you just described. I wish the person that I was talking to on this particular day would have could hear you. I said to him, he says, "Where do the stories come from?" I tried to explain it like I don't sit around looking for stories. They come from dreams. Um, and like you said, I am not just saying what I see. It's like you can feel what they feel.
Yeah, you
They're
can.
telling you their story.
Yes.
And the
Yeah.
man looked at me, my coworker, he looked at me, he said, "Stacey," he got real serious. "They're telling you their story."
Yeah, I can
And the
relate. I
way
know what
he
you're saying.
looked at me, I said, "Okay, okay."
I can relate. I relate. It is. It is like someone is telling you, you got to tell this story, and they need this story told, and
Yes.
you're getting it out there. You know.
Wow. I'm gonna read more, and I'm gonna let people know that listen, I am on the daughter between them. And I'm telling you, get the book.
Thank you.
Get the book. So we have the books, the mini books that you've written, and you're on Tyler Perry's Assisted Living as the beautiful, bold, classy Anastasia. How's that? How's that doing? What's that do for you?
It's amazing. I can't thank Tyler Perry enough for creating this character. And I can't thank him enough, and Kim Coleman and Derek Deuce and Mark Swinton and their role in me getting this part, and my agency, my agent, Sue Ann Eden, and the Tangerine Agency, for everybody's part in me, and God first and foremost for me landing this role. But to go in and to dress up and to be made up and to get these scripts, and you go through them, and it's so exciting because you don't know what the writers have written. What do they have in store for your character?
Wow.
And you get the script and you start going and you say, "Oh, wow, I'm going to do that." And, I believe in putting 100% in and doing my work, doing the work, because when I show up, I want to be right. I want to be on point, and I respect my co-stars, David and Tamala Mann, Courtney Nicole, Naeem Lim, Chet Anukwi, Damian Lee, Taylor Buck, all of everyone that I'm working with, the people behind the scenes, behind the camera, the producers. It's a collaboration, and it's an amazing thing. Alex Henderson, who I did recently, a couple of weeks ago, did the cancel culture episode with him. So it's beyond anything I can imagine. And Chad, who plays FA on the thing, he always teases me when we're like being transported from our trailers over to the studio. He said, "We'll be doing this 100 years and you'll still be all bubbly and excited." And I said, "I am, because it's so amazing to do what you love to do and be paid for too." It's an incredible experience. And everyone at the studio, everyone is so on top of the game, so professional, from the hair people, makeup, everybody's just on point. And it's a beautiful, beautiful experience, all of it. It's beyond anything I could have ever dreamt of.
Wow. How do you balance family, writing, acting, content creator? Because I see your videos on social media. How do you balance it all?
Well, it helps that, it's a bittersweet thing. I don't have any biological children. I have my stepson and he's grown and on his own. So it's my husband and myself. And my husband is a musician and he serenades me all the time with the piano. So he's on his keyboard and I'm on my keyboard. He's on his keyboard playing music and developing songs, and I'm on my keyboard writing or social media, whatever I'm doing. So being that we both have something we're passionate about, it helps. We make sure we have that time together though. We come together, we, eat together at the table, we have our prayer time in a prayer room that we call it together. We're getting ready to go on a big vacation. I can't get into that a whole lot, but we're getting ready to go on a big vacation and celebrate our 25th anniversary. It's on September 18th. So we try to make time for each other. But I'm very organized, and I was in corporate America and I had to be organized and I had to be able to multitask. So I'm used to that. Like I knew we were going to have our 4 o'clock. I went out this morning. I had to run some errands. I worked out, make sure I worked out. I picked up some pies for the thing tomorrow. So I have it all mapped out. I got my workout in. I said, so I want to go in and cook dinner. So I cooked dinner before this. So my dinner is already done. So it's a matter how I do it. It's organization, like when I was in corporate America. I make my to-do list and I say, okay, it's going to take me this much, and that's how I balance it. And I make sure that I have that time for my husband and myself. But I'm big on to-do lists. I'm big on tasks. I'm very task oriented, and that's how I'm able to do it. And then with the show, we're only filming 1.5 months out of the year. So I'm not tied down the whole year. And writing a book, I wrote my daughter between them. I wrote that like a couple of years ago because it was a process to get it into the shape that's in now, to get an agent for it. My agent tried to shop it. She wasn't able to sell it, so I self-published. So it's not like, so everything is kind of straddle. It's not like I'm doing everything at once. And like I said, organization is key. And Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
I know that's right.
An understanding husband who is supportive and there for me and gives me, because like I've kicked him out of here, out of the front room. And he's just wonderful like that. He's supportive and I appreciate it. Couldn't have done anything of this without him.
Well, somebody's gonna regret not picking that book up. Somebody's gonna regret it. Hey, that's not our problem though. That's not our problem.
The daughter between them, I tell you,
somebody's gonna regret it.
It's a doozy of a movie.
Ooh, I'm gonna finish the book, and I do hope, and when it hits the big screen, I will not wait for it to come on the Fire Stick. I will go to the movie theater.
And please leave a review on Amazon too.
I will. I also read that when you were younger, with your writing, you said the church gave you an outlet. How so?
Well, I was a member of First New Christian Fellowship Missionary Baptist Church in Los Angeles. Dr. Norman S. Johnson is the pastor. Loretta Johnson is first lady. And the church was located across the street from Washington Prep High School. So when I joined the church, they had Mary Cuthbertson, who just recently turned 90 years old, was over the drama department. And I told her about my background, and she just welcomed me with open arms and became like a mentor to me and let me start writing plays. And the church started letting me write plays. And we would do casting, and people in the church, they would try out and they were in the plays. And then I got involved with a gentleman named Byron Nora, who recently won Best Director for my play 2 years ago, Mommy and Clyde. And so he got involved with the church and he started directing my plays. And David Talbot, who was over there at the school, and became like a collaboration, and we started doing plays. And the first play that we ended up we had such great response, and a lot of the people in the drama department were coming over and participating in the plays. We decided to bring the plays out to the world. And so the first play that moved from the church to outside was called A Shrine to Junior. And a wonderful actor who has since gone on to be with the Lord, David Downing, played Grandpa's Truth. And the play was called Grandpa's Truth. Well, let's see. Okay, A Shrine to Junior was first, and then we had Grandpa's Truth. So Shrine to Junior was at the Stella Adler Theater. And it was about a woman, a family, and the woman had a son, and he was killed. And she was so obsessed with the son, she kind of lost her mind. She couldn't function, and it was really bringing the family down. And this strange man shows up, and he tries to bring the family back together. And she has this shrine to this son, and she's forgetting about the daughter she has. But this strange man who comes, and he kind of embodies the spirit of the son who was killed. He brings the family back together again. And Milana Jackson, who is going on to do great things, played the daughter. She's now actually in 666 with Tyler Perry. She's been in a lot of things. She played opposite Viola Davis in How to Get Away with Murder, but her career just really took off, and I'm so proud of her. But she played the daughter in that, and that was many, many years ago. And from there, I started doing more plays out in the world, and then start producing plays myself. And as I said, the play I did recently was 2 years ago, called Mommy and Clyde. And Leah, Courtney Nicole, who plays Leah in Assisted Living, she and her husband played the lead. They were the leads in that play.
Really?
And so yeah, it was a great experience.
Will you ever, or are they online? Are they available for people to see online, or that's just only live performances?
They are not. There is a live, but if you want to see the highlights, you can just Google on YouTube "Mommy and Clyde" highlights, so you can see some scenes. Speaking of plays, I've written a play called. I don't want to give the title away yet, but it's kind of like a best friend play between two boomer ladies. Myself will be starring in it, and a young woman actress named Marlon Cooley. And Heather Daughtry, she's playing my daughter. We haven't cast the fourth character, which is going to be a demolition supervisor. But the play, I'm so excited about introducing this play to the world in 2025. We'll have to get together and talk again about it. But it's going to be quite amazing. It has a big forgiveness theme, and it's myself and this other actress. And we're best friends from the second grade. And we met because I wet my pants in the second grade. And the whole school was teasing me. And she and I found out we had the same birthday. So they start calling her Pee Pee Girl. They call me Pee Pee Girl, and they start calling her Pee Pee Girl. And we bonded, and we said, it's us against the world. We're going to do everything together. We're going to go to the same high school, the same college, have a double wedding, have our children. And we did all that. But tragedy strikes, and then that's when everything goes haywire. But I am really excited about this play that is going to come out sometime next year.
I'm excited to hear about it.
And I haven't been on the stage in doggone it 30 years.
Oh my goodness.
Return to the stage after decades for me. And
I'm gonna have to get some things together, so when it comes, I would love to come and watch. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You have, without even going into too much of your background, there's a couple things I just want to ask that could possibly bless someone else. What would you say to others that are trying to follow their dreams, but they're fighting fear and doubt?
I would say the first thing, examine where the fear is coming from. Why are you afraid, and what is the doubt? Is it because you're not ready? Is it because you're not prepared? Is it because you haven't done the work? Then you have a right to be afraid. So I would say if that's the answer to that question, then get ready, go to school, take some classes, take some acting classes, take some writing workshops. Do what you need to do to get whatever even if you're not going into entertainment business, if you want to become a doctor, a beautician, a sanitation worker, whatever it is, prepare yourself. Now, if you are rightly prepared and you have the talent, you have the ability, then you have to take that leap of faith. You have to not be afraid. You have to trust, because if you don't try and you don't do it, you're going to regret it. And there's no such thing as failure. The failure is when you don't do it. You got to step out. When I got word that I had was cast as Anastasia in assisted living, this was my first project. I mean, I'd done some under fives on soap operas many years ago, and I've done some independent films, but to be on a stage as big was the first time. And it crossed my mind. I said, what if I blank out? But I put those thoughts beside me and I said, no, you're ready, you're prepared, you study, you do. God got you. He got your back. You step out on faith, and that's what I did. So you sometimes got to kick your own self in the butt and tell that noise to shut up. Get me behind me, say, miss me. God has me. He didn't bring me this far to leave me. But again, that's, if you're not prepared, get prepared. If you're prepared, step on out on faith. You have nothing to lose, nothing whatsoever.
Yes, ma'am. And not to get too deep, but I asked you something, and I just think people are out here, they're trying to have faith, but it's hard sometimes. So I think I've asked you this before. How do you, how did you believe, you decided to trust God, and there those of us that want to, but at the same time, we are afraid to.
Well, I need to clear the record because I haven't had a perfect faith walk. I have doubted God. I have cried when I've had disappointments. I've had some serious, major disappointments that left me in shambles. And I'm like, why am I doing this? Maybe this isn't for me. I have been devastated. I've had so many disappointments. But something inside of me, I get like that song, we fall down, we get back up, So I think I accepted Christ when I was 11 years old. And I got baptized when I was 13. And I saw so much. I lost my mom. I talked about it in other auditions, molested. A lot of things happened to me. But that faith is what kept me strong. And I believe if you really believe, even if you fall, God isn't going to let you fall off the cliff. You can fall down, but he's not going to let you fall off over the cliff. So if you have that belief in that faith, it's going to get you through, because I have doubted. I have questioned it. But for some reason, I kept coming back. I kept coming back. And that's the God. That's the God. That's the Holy Spirit. That's because if you're a true believer and it's really for you, you are going to get back up, and God is going to get you to go on again. I mean, even Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane was questioning it, like, can this cup pass? He was crying. I mean, he was crying blood almost. It's like, but what did he do? He moved forward. He moved forward in his mission. He didn't give up. So some of the greatest people have doubted, but you don't give up. I'm trusting, if you really believing, you're gonna be pushed forward. You're going to be pushed forward. You're not going to give up.
Thank you, beautiful. Thank you. My last question for you, as you build this legacy of yours, what is it that you want people to know now, later, and even later in life about you?
It's funny you said that, because all I can think about is Mike Tyson in this interview he had with this young girl, and she asked him about legacy, and he used some words I don't want to use, some very choice words about legacy, F a legacy. I don't know, it was just brutal. And in a way, I kind of felt what he was saying. And for me, it is no legacy. And I kind of agree with him on that. I'm not all that. I'm not God. I'm not, for me, it's like, I got to be here. I'm still here. A lot of people don't get to live this long, don't get to be here. I'm here. And I've been able to bless people. All I want people to remember is that, whoa, that was that woman, that was that Bible girl, that's the lady that always talk about God. That's what I want people to remember. That's that one that always goes back to God, because that's the beginning and the end of all things. He brought us here. He's going to take us out of here. I'm just filthy rags, as the Bible says. I'm a vessel. here to be of service. And I have to remind myself that as much you look at social media, you see people on the red carpet and they're doing this, you're like, oh gosh, oh, I would love to be there. Oh, I would love to have that. Oh, I would love. It's not about that. It's about being of service. I was out shopping yesterday and I was trying to get some stuff for this trip. And there was a lady in there and she asked me, she said, what color is this dress? And she approached me about it. And I said, it looks red. I think that's red. She said, good, it's $20. That's what she told me. And I said, oh, that's a good deal. And the moment she told me that, the $20 bill that I had in my purse flew into my spirit. I rarely have cash. My husband teases, he said, you broke all the time. You don't ever have money. But I had $20 in my purse. And the spirit told me that $20 is for my daughter. And so I told the lady, I said, you know what? This is for you. And she looked at me like I was crazy. I said, your father wanted me to give this to you. And she said, there you go, Stacey, making me cry again.
I'm sorry.
She said she was so grateful to get that $20. I don't know what her situation was, but I had to be obedient and I gave her the 20. And I said, that's what the legacy is. That's what we're here for. It's too big, because God is too big to be down. He can't be doing, so he uses us to bless others. And that was nothing. But it was something for her. And it was a reminder to me that that's what this is all. That's all I want people to remember when they think about me, to think, give God the glory and let me be of service. That's what that woman reminds me. Let me be of service the best way I can with whatever I have. Because Jesus sat back and there was a woman that went to church and all these people giving big money, the Pharisees and Sadducees, dropping it like, making it rain on the altar, making it rain in the offering basket. And this little old lady came out there with this little tin, and Jesus said she gave more than anybody because that was all she had. So I have to remind myself, it's beautiful to have the show and books and all that, but that's not. The main thing is being of service, being grateful, giving back. And this experience this life thing is such a mystery. And many times I say, I'm gonna wake up from this dream. This is a dream. Meaning this life, because it's such a mystery. What is this? Why are we here? But I believe that is the reason, to love each other, to give, to support, to bless, to be a blessing.
Yes, ma'am. I'll share this, and I'm learning more and more. Sometimes it's not about money. Sometimes it's about what's it doing for other people.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Perfect sense.
Some things I do, the money isn't important. It's, did anyone receive a blessing?
Yes.
And I feel like about this show, even if I never get a chance to meet Alretha Thomas, she not only came on my stage, my platform, and blessed me, but I'm the bridge that may be allowing her, connecting her to someone who needed to hear this to be blessed.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being of service, because this is a ministry, what you're doing. You're being of service.
Thank you. And I'm going to finish my book. I'm going to do a review. Before we go, I'm going to show you guys the cover again, so you know what to do, the exact book to get when you go on Amazon. Let's show this.
Thank you.
Let's see. And let me take that off. We don't want them to say they missed something on the picture. Let's see.
Thank you.
Where'd it go?
And a great graphic artist named Tyrese Burnett, he created that cover. He does most of the covers for all my covers for my books for the most part. He's really good.
This book, I'm not gonna go on and on because I'm not gonna tell it, because this book will grab your attention. This is everything the review said is, and like I said, Only one other author that, well, there's other authors who've made movies out of their book. Only one other author that I ran across that I really honestly said I would love to see that on a film. And then when I'm reading this and I'm not even through it, I am really, really hoping to see this on a film.
From
I
your
am.
mouth to God's ears. Yeah.
And so is this correct? I have on the screen, follow you on IG at A Thomas for real
Yes.
and www.alrethathomas.com
Yes. And
and
you can get
Facebook.
my all my social media pages from my website too.
Okay, okay. And yes, speaking of her website, please do check out her website. She has the books, she has trailers on her website. She has a very interesting blog. Yes, I keep talking about that blog. Check out the blog. Miss Aretha. Happy Thanksgiving and
Happy
thank you
Thanksgiving
again.
too. It's great. Love it.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Okay, everybody. So you've been blessed once again, I assume. Thank you for tuning in. Please follow Miss Alretha. She's on Facebook. She's on Instagram. She does have a website. Please go to Amazon. Get The Daughter Between Them. You will not be disappointed. The Daughter Between Them. And as I always like to say, thank you for watching. Don't stress too much about yesterday. Don't worry too much about tomorrow. You just might miss living today. Have a happy Thanksgiving, everybody.